Again, a player who's had a ton of rumours over the last week or two, which is kind of crazy because it's gotten bigger and bigger every single week, does actually happen to be Tom Lynch. Again, Damien Barrett did report saying that Tom Lynch will be a massive person of interest for both Melbourne and Collingwood. Again, this is one of the weirdest situations because I am 99.9% sure that Tom Lynch will be a Richmond Tiger next year. Again, the Tigers are losing basically everyone. I've spoken about it in the previous videos. We know Liam Baker has requested a trade. Shea Bolton's requested a trade. Daniel Rioli's requested a trade. And Dusty and Dylan Grimes and whatnot have all retired. They really can't afford to lose another player, especially Tom Lynch, who, when healthy, is arguably Richmond's best. Again, we got to remember, the last time this guy was healthy, Tom Lynch was statistically the best key forward in the AFL. In 2012, fuck's sake. In 2022, he ended up missing like 5 games that year and only lost the Coleman by like 5 or 6 goals. Again, he averaged the most goals. I think he averaged the most contested marks, and he was like statistically the best key forward in the game. Since then, however, he's played about 5 AFL matches, and it just hasn't been that great. But when he does play, we've seen it. Richmond are a completely different team. He was able to help the Tigers get that massive win against the Sydney Swans early on in the year, where the Tigers actually looked really good when they were healthy. Of course, they're not going to look like that now with half the players Tom Lynch played with in that game. Probably won't be there next year. But I can't see a situation where Tom Lynch gets traded. Not only is he way too important for Richmond, but he's also going to really help out this rebuild. Giving the 1 or 2 key forwards the Tigers draft over the next year or two a leader, one of the best key forwards of all time to learn from. Richmond youngster midfielders who they're probably going to have a lot of. It also gives them someone to kick to, which is really, really important for a young player. And I think the most important reason on why Tom Lynch will be a Tiger next year is, from what I know, Tom Lynch is the highest paid player in the AFL next year. Again, that might sound crazy, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be on about 1.6 million to play for Richmond next year. And some people out there might be like, that's fucking overpaid. Are Richmond mentally all there? What the fuck are they doing? Well, look, I think every Richmond fan would do that deal 999.9 million times out of 999 million, because Tom Lynch signing that contract got them 2 extra flags and really helped them in 2012, and should hopefully next season help out all these youngsters. And it's just been a phenomenal player for the Tigers for so long and will forever be known as a Richmond legend. I don't see this happening. Collingwood can't afford him. Melbourne could possibly afford him, but they've got their own problems with Christian Petrarca, Adam Tomlinson, Kosi Pickett, etc., to go over. And again, speaking of Kosi Pickett, we know that he apparently went into his Melbourne meeting pretty upset, and it seems like he wants to return home. Again, this was being reported that he actually wanted to go to South Australia, which he spent a lot of his life there. It was rumoured he actually had secret early negotiations with Port Adelaide earlier in the year. It was confirmed, I think, 2 years ago he had negotiations with Port Adelaide, and that just never happened. But I can officially tell you right now, not only does Kosi Pickett not going to want to go to Port Adelaide, he's not going to want to go to Adelaide as well, but he wants to go to Western Australia, where it's being reported he is going to pick Fremantle as he pursues a trade. This is absolutely insane that Freo now can legitimately get Kosi Pickett and Shea Bolton. The unfortunate thing is, they're going to be about 2 first-round picks each. The fortunate thing is, you get 2 of the top 3 small forwards in the game who can both play midfield, especially Shea Bolton, and one's like 25 and one's like 24. You are getting these guys going into their prime of their careers who are going to last another probably 6 to 8 years for your team in the AFL. This is fucking crazy. Can you imagine being a defending team and knowing that you have to go against that Fremantle team, but you've got to go against now Shea Bolton and Kosi Pickett in that forward line. And having those guys are going to free up players like Michael Frederick. That is fucking scary to think. And the reality is they can now have their midfield, which was already set of like Hayden Young, Angus Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong, with a bunch of other players floating through there. They can now have Shea Bolton and Kosi Pickett float through there at any time. That's fucking scary. That will put hair on any Fremantle fans' balls. I legitimately just would not be surprised. Again, what are the trades going to be like to get these players? I think at the time making this video, they have 9, 10, and 16 or so. They will become 11, 12, and 18 because of the compensations and whatnot. So I think what will probably happen is they will offer Richmond 11 and 18 and maybe a future third just to make sure they do it for like Shea Bolton and maybe one of their third round picks they've got this year. That will probably happen. And then they're going to offer Kosi Pickett and Melbourne probably pick 12 and a future first, which again, if you're Melbourne, you absolutely do. 2 first round picks for Kosi Pickett is enormous value right now, especially considering they're going into this new phase of what looks to be, could be a rebuild on the run, at least attempt, because all of their players want to leave. Again, they've got like 4 players I've talked about in this video who legitimately want to leave their team, which is crazy to think. Again, I don't think Richmond are going to be happy at all that they're not going to get 11 and 12 for Shea Bolton. That's what they're going to try and get. But in reality, if Fremantle offered up 11 and 17 or whatever, they're probably going to have to throw in another future third or something just to sweet talk the Tigers into getting this done. And look, 5 picks for those guys sound like a lot, but it's really not. This team only just missed the 8 and were in the 4 most of the year. They only crumbled in the last 4 or 5 rounds. The thing is, if Fremantle add those 2 guys, get another year into this extremely good young core that they've got, the players that they drafted in the previous year or 2 come up, which we know they probably will. The only thing this team may have an issue with is potentially their backline. But their backline is still young. They've still got young key defenders coming through. I wouldn't be surprised if they really go out and get that grand final appearance that they've been desperately trying to get for years and years, ever since 2013, where they ultimately failed to take home the cup. I wouldn't be surprised if they, go ahead and make this happen. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions on this all down below. Do you guys agree with all the trades that I've mentioned so far in terms of who wins, who doesn't? Do you think they'll all happen? Whatever it may be, definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Subscribe to this channel for all that sports content and news. Subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. Links for them will be in the description down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.